Hello, I'm horror cartoonist Dennis St. John. I draw monsters and write twisted tales. As you can imagine, I was a little obsessed with Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Lucky for me, so were most of my high school friends, all except one friend who stubbornly refused to join the Scoobies. So here we are, 20-some-odd years later. I'm teaming up with Doc Travis, John Teach Landis, and maybe a special guest or two, and we're going to make our friend Michael Poley watch one episode of Buffy a week until he's no longer the Buffy Virgin. Hey everyone, welcome back to Buffy Virgin. We're doing our Season 4 recap. I'm your host, Dennis St. John, and with me as always is the gang. Why don't you guys introduce yourself in order from the most amount of cats you had in high school to the least?
Okay, so I'm first. I'm Travis. I had more than 2 cats, according to my friends, although I only had 2 cats in real life. They looked so identical, it was like I had a dozen cats in my house.
My name's John. I had 1 cat in high school. Her name was Trigger, and may she rest in peace.
My name is Michael. I had 1 cat for a brief period of time. It was from the theater that my mom was performing at, and it only lived with us for a couple of months. It was Sir Thomas, and then it passed. It just came to our place to retire from being alive. And I've only seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer up to season 4.
Up to all of season 4.
All of it, yeah.
So before we do our recap for the season, let's do reactions to the last episode that aired, which was Where the Wild Things Are.
Audience reactions.
All right. So this episode guest starred Maya Kobabe, and we got a lot of good reactions to Air's presence. So Brian Shields says, very cool podcast. Totally enjoyed listening. Thanks for having Maya Kobabe on. Jill Cross says, really enjoyed this episode of the podcast. Very interesting and insightful discussion. Thumbs up. Maya was a great guest. Okay. So Rich at first gets into the hell math and he says, episode 12 was Buffy's birthday, so we're definitely in the spring semester now, because there was some discussion about time that episode. And then he says, but I want to give Maya 100% for the hell math. Great guest, thoughtful Buffy fan. And then says, now I've listened to the entire episode and it's possibly the best one yet.
Maya really classed this podcast up.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thank you, Maya, for coming on.
And then I got an email from Cheryl, who's a listener who's just catching up. She says, very much enjoy the podcast in the process of catching up. I'm currently listening to Pangs and wanted to comment on the group wondering why Willow was so opposed to Anya. I think you're forgetting about the Doppelgangland episode. Anya tried to use Willow to regain possession of her power center and as a result brought Vampire Willow to Sunnydale. Anya also sold out Willow in the scene in the Bronze where she's trying to clear out the maps. I think if anyone should have a problem with Anya, it's Willow. So that was a thoughtful answer to a question that was posed. I don't no idea when, but in the past.
I think it was in Pangs because
must have been
what they said.
But you're totally right, Cheryl. Awesome catch.
Cool. All right. So Mike, why don't you do a season 4 episode recap where you briefly explain every single episode?
The summary.
So these are just the highlights so we can keep them in our minds as we get into the discussion of season 4. There are 22 episodes in season 4, so this is a brief recall of what's in those episodes. So we started out season 4, episode 1, which is the freshman, actually the first appearance of Riley and Walsh. There's a potential new boyfriend for Buffy who is killed in that episode. We meet the excellent Sunday, the vampire, and her gang. And we learned that Xander did not go on his road trip. Episode 2 was Living Conditions. That's the roommate demon episode. And it's also an episode where Giles and Xander wrongly assume that Buffy is possessed. At the end, Buffy and Willow become roommates. After that, we have The Harsh Light of Day, another amazing episode with Harmony. Spike and Harmony are together for some reason, and they are searching for 4, The Gem of Amara, which is beneath campus somewhere. Episode 4 is Fear Itself. That's the fraternity Halloween party episode with accidental ritual activation, and it has an amazing Giles and Anya rescue. Episode 5 is Beer Bad. That's where Xander becomes a bartender. Oz feels a strange connection to Veruca. That's Black Forest, turns college students into Neanderthals. And Willow confronts Parker, who's the bad boyfriend, pre-Riley. Episode 6, Wild at Heart. That's where Spike gets tased and carried off and has the chip implant. Oz gets out during a full moon and gets with Veruca. Willow plans her revenge spell, which ultimately leads to Oz killing Veruca to protect her, and then Oz drives off in a van, leaving the series for good. Episode 7, that's The Initiative. That's when Spike, aka Hostile 17, is captive, gets the chip installed, and Willow helps Riley flirt with Buffy. Super awkward party scene. Episode 8 is Pangs. I'm just calling this one the weird Native American spirit episode. And moving on. Episode 9 is Something Blue. That's the episode where Willow almost becomes a demon, a revenge demon, and Spike and Buffy make out and plan a wedding as a part of the revenge curse. It's amazing. Episode 10, Hush. That's the quiet episode with the weird floating hush monsters. Super spooky. Episode 11, Doomed. That's the episode where Spike realizes he can't hurt demons. Episode 12, A New Man. That's the surprise party for Buffy, where Giles and Ethan Rayne have a hang zone, and Giles ends up cursed, becoming a demon for a bit. Episode 13 is The Eye in Team. That's where Riley and Buffy have their fighting and sex montage, and Walsh gets killed by Adam. Episode 14, Goodbye Iowa. Riley can't accept the initiative isn't awesome, and he goes through the Walsh drug withdrawal, and that's the crazy reversal on Riley's character. Episode 15 is This Year's Girl. That's where Faith wakes up. Anyway, it starts as a two-parter with Who Are You? Episode 16 with the Buffy-Faith body swap, where Faith has sex with Riley as Buffy, and the Watcher Council kidnaps Buffy as Faith. And then episode 17, Superstar. That's the Jonathan episode. Doesn't say anything else. Episode 18 is Where the Wild Things Are. That's the sexual frat house episode. Episode 19, New Moon Rising. That's when Oz returns and gets kidnapped by the Initiative. And we have the Willow-Tara situation discussed in more detail. Episode 20, The Yoko Factor. Spike tries to separate the team with Little Lies on behalf of Adam, who says that he's going to remove the chip. Episode 21 is Primeval. That is the last episode of the arc that leads to the destruction of the Initiative and Adam. And then episode 22 is the multi-part dream sequence with the first Slayer in it. So that is an overview of what happens episode by episode in season 4.
I can't believe I ate the whole thing.
Thank you for that recap, Mike.
You're welcome. I tried to make it as boring as possible. You're
All right, so let's move on to our list of best episodes and worst episodes of the season. So we'll start with best, and we'll start with Mike.
Sure. So I think my favorite episodes of this season was This Year's Girl, the Who Are You two-parter. If I had to choose one, it would be This Year's Girl. But the reveal of Faith is handled so well when she comes back on the show. There's interesting callbacks to, her previous situation with the mayor, with the rattled weird videotape that gets played. There's an interesting device that we don't know what it does that ends up introducing a body swap. There's just so much good tension in that episode, and it's great to see these characters come back, and just the fear that Faith kind of like has instilled in Buffy and her whole and the whole Scooby gang is just awesome. That is got to be my top episode. I had the most fun watching that episode. And then I'm going to pick a second one because I can't help it. But the sheer surprise in Harsh Light of Day of the Spike and Harmony kind of relationship. Like, I rewatched that episode immediately after seeing it. I needed to see it again because it was so funny. And I was surprised how well Buffy the show could handle such funny relationships. And it was something odd I had never seen on a show. So that also didn't make me feel bad for the characters too much. I feel a little bad for Harmony, but just really enjoyed that episode. It's really well handled, and it also induces a lot of nostalgia for college. So that one was fantastic.
Nice, good choices, Mike. I wanted to just point out all the world-breaking episodes, I guess, the ones that where they really take something new and they aren't trying to continue the story, but instead just totally interrupt what a Buffy episode even is. So sorry, Hush was like to me, the real standout this season, like the totally silent episode with the gentleman come to town and everything, and then like Restless is the dreams. The entire episode is a dream sequence. So I thought those were really good. And Superstar also just like another like world breaking like let's even change the main credits. So I think like season 4's main arc of like the initiative and stuff I find really uninteresting, but like one thing season 4 did really well to me was like just these really interruptive episodes where they got to get experimental. Like it was almost like the makers of the season didn't care about the season arc and spent all their focus on these like experimental episodes.
No, great points. I mean, do you think that they really? I mean, do they have to have a season arc?
I don't. Yeah, it seems like they think they do. It's not their strength, honestly.
I have a rant about the season arc later.
All right.
I think we've all got one of those in us.
Trav, what do you think? What were your best episodes?
So just because it was just such a fun, amazing episode with Something Blue. And again, it's also like it's like an inversion episode or putting things on its head. And it's not, it makes the actors do things they don't normally do. So it's just fun. And it just, instead of another, dire episode where, the world's going to end and this and that, it's like they get to freak out about other things. And Buffy's such a great actress that when you get her doing other things besides, being this tortured hero,
yeah,
it's just so amazing. And it's just so fun and funny and is kind of inside. I mean, I've never gotten married, but as Mike said, there's all these like wedding, like it feels like a legit, like someone's ranting about having a wedding they had to plan. Like it feels really funny from that angle too. So I love that. And I love this year's girl because Faith is the best big bad Buffy's ever had, hands down. And like I still like when I see things from Faith's perspective, I'm like, man, it almost feels like you want to take her side, even though she's such a bad girl. It's just like, man, like Faith's version of reality is like so twisted towards her. It's like, it's amazing. It's amazing. She's having these nightmares of Buffy killing her all the time. Like, it's just so good. It's just so good. Those are my, and so those were like my 2-1. One was like the really fun Something Blue episode, and the other was the like big bad episode. So
yeah, that's interesting choices. Like I wouldn't have considered putting Something Blue in there, but when you mention it, it's like it's almost sad to me we don't get to see more Sarah Michelle Gellar comedy episodes.
Yeah.
Like she's so good at like the comedy in that episode.
So I decided that if we're going to name best episodes, if I'm not going to say the same ones as everybody else, I need to go like full on hipster with it and be like, yeah, Sgt. Pepper's is good, but what's really good is Paul McCartney's first solo album, Ram. It's like really underrated. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to say that I think some of my best episodes are, first of all, A New Man, which is a really nice one shot. And I think that's the one where Giles turns into a monster. And it's just some really amazing Anthony Stewart Head moments of him being a monster. And the moment where he stops the car and gets out and scares Professor Walsh, it just works really, really well. Similarly, Restless, I think needs to be lifted up because there's a moment, it must have been a moment where they realized that the arc of this season was a kind of a failed experiment or a failed attempt, and to say, you know what, the season finale is not going to be the arc ender. It's going to be some other weird experimental thing that I just cooked up. It's kind of a baller move. So yeah, I really like Restless on that level.
Yeah. I love that. It's the season finale. That makes it the fact like it's weird enough to have a full dream episode, but that it's also the season finale. Yeah.
It is such a baller choice. That's a good point, John. It felt crazy watching the first time. I mean, I couldn't believe it. That's how they were going to go out.
All right. Why don't we do worst episodes? A lot to choose from this season.
I think the worst episode this season for me was Goodbye Iowa, because that made me the most personally frustrated, because it's the episode that really sacrifices Riley's character. There's that moment at Eddie's where Riley like pulls a gun on a random person because he's so drug addled. And like that made me so angry with Riley, and the fact that Buffy was still empathetic to him despite, his kind of crazy actions. And like, I mean, it's the power of love, guys. you can help each other in the worst of times. But Goodbye Iowa is when this season is full on into this initiative storyline, and it's like, I don't care what you think about this. We are doing the initiative storyline. Riley was being fed drugs, and he has a brother who is a robot, and this is the story. And the professor was TAing to, she's dead now, and so now Riley is going to eventually be the catalyst for the destruction of, it's just like such a crazy drug-addled story, and then to finally like let it play out, it's just like a slow-moving train wreck. And this episode felt like the part where the train started colliding with the other train, and I'm like, I can't believe that they're committing to this terrible story concept. The other episode that was rough for me was Pangs. I believe it was Pangs, which is the weird Native American spirit one, and I think that one just bothered me that they went with a Native American storyline, complete with like the attack on Giles's homestead, the house and stuff at the end, which was just a very strange one-off to do. And in a season with so many great one-offs, it was kind of like a meh kind of one, and it didn't really invert the characters or play with the characters much. So those are the two weakest ones for me.
I picked Beer Bad, which is the Buffy Becomes a Caveman episode, which was actually pretty fun to record with you guys. We had Jason Cooper on that episode, but like it's a mess of an episode. And Where the Wild Things Are, which was the Fuck House episode.
I mean, I found a new appreciation for that one. I really came to like that one. It's so weird.
They just feel like such sloppy episodes, and it's just not Buffy at its best. It's not the tight storytelling I want from Buffy.
Yeah, so I chose Where the Wild Things Are and Goodbye Iowa. There's great consensus between us so far. And I think why I complained about them during the time. But yeah, for me, the same problems. Riley's character is an awful character, and yet Buffy still, forgives him, and they explain all these insane things that he's done, and then Where the Wild Things Are is just so terrible.
Yeah,
I loved Beer Bad. I like how you listed it as a terrible episode. I love Beer Bad. Like that's one of my favorite memories of season 4. Even though I didn't make the best episode, it's one of my favorite memories.
I feel similarly about Where the Wild Things Are, that you think about Beer Bad. Like I feel like it's not my favorite, but it certainly is not on my like least favorite list, because it's an episode that does some really wonky, weird stuff, and I at least appreciate it on that level, that like we get the tortured children, and we get the orgasm wall. Like there's just there's so much in that episode that is, if not good, at least memorable. Like I'm not going to forget that episode anytime soon.
That's true. And and you also did discover all the weird writing that went into the newspaper clippings.
Indeed. I will never forget it for that reason alone.
Mike's rap has done a lot for that episode. Like his rap really has elevated that episode in my mind.
That episode has that great Xander Anya moment where they kind of team up to go after the like tentacle plant, creature. And like that's such a good like emotional moment that doesn't belong in an otherwise super weird episode.
Agree. My actual worst episodes, I mean, officially, like, listen, Beer Bad and Pangs are probably my actual worst ones, but because I'm going to be the complete hipster about it, I'm going to be like, here are the deep tracks of worst episodes. My deep tracks of worst episodes are Primeval and Yoko Factor, which is kind of a two-parter in a way. I think Yoko Factor comes first. Anyway, I think I hate it for the exact same reason that you guys hate Goodbye Iowa, which is that the arc is so unwatchable. And not only is it like hard to watch that arc like start, but it's also really hard to watch it finish, because it's Primeval pretends to be this grand finish to the whole thing, and Adam gets killed and there's explosions and everything, but no one cares, and it's really painful to watch no one care.
Yeah, I think calling it as like a play set is like like very accurate to what Primeval felt like. It just doesn't like it doesn't belong on Buffy to me, this kind of episode, or this kind of villain, and this kind of like setup. I also really super hate Buffy's yellow eyes. Like they tried to go for like godlike powers, but it just looks like, girl, you got jaundice eyes.
Well, the episode, it doesn't belong because Adam doesn't have any relationship with Buffy. There's no reason for them to be fighting. It's Riley's monster that Riley needs to fight, but he has to fight him for some reason. It's like these characters, like Faith is such a strong villain, as we said earlier, because it's like that's a good antagonist for Buffy. Adam, it's just like, oh, there's the boss at the end of the level? Cool.
Yeah, totally.
It's almost like there should be like a whole parallel show that's just the Riley Adam show that no one would ever want to watch.
It's a webisode.
I like the just calling Adam Riley's monster because like that's like Frankenstein's monster, but it also speaks to like how lame it is because like that title doesn't sound great at all. Riley's monster.
I'm going to say it's not even a webisode. It would be the cartoon that you get in a pack of gum.
It's like Bazooka Joe.
Like Bazooka Joe's got more street cred than this Adam's monster, but
Initiative
Joe
Riley
at least has an eye patch.
Yeah, but that's the level. That would be the level. And that's not me shitting on cartoons. That's just me shitting on bubblegum.
I think shitting on bubblegum should be the name of your solo podcast, Travis. Shitting on bubblegum with Travis Morris and Mikkel.
Ooh.
Oh man, that's like when you report your subscribers to the police as a concerned citizen. It's like, I don't know who signed up for this podcast.
Oh, it's a Sting podcast to find creeps.
It's a real Sting podcast.
I got asked the question for best worst monster. So best, I think by like a country mile, is the Gentleman. Like they're just so solid, and it's also, no offense to like the monster men who played most of the monsters, but they're mostly, I think, like stuntmen and stuff. And so this one they actually hired like monster men. So it was Doug Jones and Troy Camden, and they like really put their full like physicality into the performance. And it's not so much that like that makeup is better, because in the case of the non like focused Gentleman, it's actually not great, but like just the performance is great. And the monster makeup is good. Giles as a demon, I also thought was really good. Like both like in terms of his acting, and I think Stuart Head actually has a face to be a demon. Like he's got that big head that like looks great with horns on it. It's also nice to see the return of Hoffman. And I think the Kathy monster, the Kathy demon, is kind of like generic Buffy at this point. It hits all of the like generic styles of Buffy, but it's cool when the face mask gets ripped off. I think that design looked cool. And like Kathy's the worst, so it's fun. Like her as a demon is fun. And then worst, I mean, I think there probably were visually worse monsters somewhere in the season in the background or something, but like Adam, or like Adam, 'cause he's dumb. Put that in your improv. Forrest as a monster is also really terrible. So those two are like just the worst, like not only in terms of like visual looks, but personality. Garbage. I thought the demons from the episode Doomed were just like too generic and like almost forgettable. So that's why I put them in there. So that's my assessment of this season's monsters. Thanks for asking me.
I was chiming in that I really liked the makeup on Buffy from Beer Bad. Like
that's really interesting. I feel like they chickened out on Beer Bad. That's part of why I don't like the episode.
She didn't go full cave woman.
That's what I want.
But it was really dramatic and cool. And it's like, and she acted all crazy in the episode. I mean, I love that episode.
Again, that is like showing off SMG's comedic chops in a fun way.
Hilarious way.
Her spinning on the chair was
You're good. Oh yeah, spinning on the chair, and then like her drawing on the wall, like just oh man, like I'm a big fan. I mean, it's just crazy. All right, fine.
It is a crazy like alternate dimension that I would have never imagined.
I want to become like possessed like Beer Bad at like one point and just like really let loose. Maybe like that's my whole fantasy. It's just like I'm always looking for the black frost on the menu, but it's never there.
I did like it took Rich to point out that like one of the caveman from Beer Bad shows up in Where the Wild Things Are. That guy makes really the best appearances on the show on such solid episodes. So, Michael, you get asked the question: what was most shocking this season as a first-time viewer?
Yeah, so the most shocking thing is I've seen more than half of the show at this point, and then I get it. I like the show. It's fun to watch. And also I get how to pitch the show to other people now a little bit, which is that it has a stupid name and a stupid premise, but it's all about the characters. And it's hard to sell a show when you say like, oh, the characters are awesome. Like, I mean, it's just, they're great characters and they're a lot of fun to watch them in all their iterations. But just watching the show for the story parts, it's like, oh yeah, they fight vampires. Like, no one cares. But I'm shocked how forgettable for season 4. I mean, this season, what was shocking is how forgettable and destructible the initiative is. It got built up like it was going to be this big story arc that was going to be really meaningful. And it wasn't. At least to me as a viewer, it felt like very forgettable. And the fact that they just fill the place up with concrete and move on is insane. How unimportant that was. I mean, you have this crazy DARPA-like organization that's experimenting with monsters, but it's staffed by idiots who can barely TA a psychology course. I mean, it's like, it's just the wrong people doing the wrong things. It's super disappointing. So I was shocked about that because like I was really looking forward to a big meaty story in this show. And then when it turned out to really be fizzled, that was really sad. I prefer I got more points here. I prefer the one-offs to the main arc of the story. And that was a little shocking how good the one-offs are. And maybe that's like a 90s mentality for TV viewing, but it's like, shit, these one-offs are great. And it's totally impacted the way I watch other television because I'm now really enjoying single episodes of shows. Like when there's a good one, I'm like, oh, that was a good solid story from beginning to end told in 40 minutes or whatever the case is for new television.
Yeah. Welcome to the X-Files method of viewing.
Totally. And alternatively, I'm shocked how much I enjoyed Angel. So we'll do a separate Angel podcast after this, but Angel has none of the baggage that Buffy does. And it's just,
well, I mean, after one season, yeah.
Well, it doesn't have the same baggage of an explanation in the viewer's mind about there being vampires slaying. Like Angel has a show concept, like Angel, oh, he's a detective and he fights, he's a redemption arc of some kind. Like they just throw in crazy stories in Angel. Every episode feels like a one-off. It's a really exciting and stupid show to watch. I mean, stupid, like it's not thoughtful. I think it is thoughtful, but I feel like that universe, it exists alongside the Buffy universe in an interesting way, which I'm excited to look into more. And this is just like an adult thing. One thing I was shocked is how tired I am of school as a backdrop for shows. It's like this bizarre limitation that prevents these characters from me really liking these characters is because their fixation on school. I would like a show like this to happen, a Buffy-like show without school. There could be a community college, maybe if someone works at a school, but like not school being the main story for why we're all together.
Yeah. I get it. I mean, especially like we watched 4 seasons of school. Yeah. And it does feel, I agree because it feels like, as a culture, we're obsessed with youth, right? So that has to take place in school. Yeah. That's an interesting observation, Mike.
Oh, thank you.
But I'm going to keep watching Riverdale.
I'm going to keep watching Sabrina.
Sorry, I just immediately pictured the Melissa Joan Hart version.
Yeah. Which is good. Just different. Wow. So Travis, how has this watch through affected how you think about season 4? Well, I wrote everything down, so I'm going to say it real quick. So I definitely like the season a lot more after rewatching it, because previously I used to just rewatch seasons 1 to 2, which sounds weird for a show that has 7 seasons. Why someone would keep cycling through 1 and 2? But I did.
Not even go up to 3.
3 is really emotional. So, and then 5 is 5, and we're going to get to 5. And 5 has actually been my ultimate season of drama and everything. but that's also tough to watch sometimes. And my main gripe about season 4 was that Buffy moved on from Angel so quickly in this season. But there apparently was a deleted scene where Buffy does talk to Willow about how she's not over Angel. I wish that was in this season because I think that would have really made me like this season a lot more if they really had stated that. But apparently that's true. That was true in the script and just got cut. That scene was filmed. It was cut from the episode. And I said, I think the best episodes are the one that invert the natural order in season 4, Be or Bad, Something Blue, Hush, A New Man, Who Are You, Superstar, with the exception for Harsh Light of Day, New Moon Rising, and Wild at Heart, which are more traditional Buffy type episodes. And I think the reason that I like those episodes, because we discussed the season 4 arc with Adam and Walsh is not good. Adam Walsh Riley is just not good. Season 1 had The Master, which was an excellent arc, had poor individual episodes. Season 2 had poor individual episodes, but an excellent arc with Evil Angel. Season 3 with the Mayor, of course. So, in my opinion, season 4 they should have rearranged the episodes so that it ended with the 2-parter When Faith Wakes Up. That to me should have been the end of season 4. In my opinion, that would have been really cool. So I think this season also shows that you can have really good individual episodes, but overall, you have to have a good big bad for the season. Make it really, really memorable. And my unsung, and the other issue was that the end of season 4, it looked a lot like a Marvel movie from like the 1990s or early 2000s before Marvel was bought by Disney, because like the budget is all wrong. The scenes are all wrong. It's like this weird military and mutants or demons. It just doesn't work. Like it's like I don't want to beat up and call like the Ang Lee version of the Hulk, but I mean it's like it just or
like the 1990 Captain America with Salary's son.
Yeah, it's like this doesn't work. It just doesn't work. My hero, the real unsung hero, is season 4's upgraded witchy Willow. So, and I didn't remember her and Tara moving so slowly, but it was like a really slow romantic development. In my mind, I sped it all up, but so that was kind of surprising. And I'd say there are more better episodes this season than season 1, but the ending of season 1 is still so much better than the ending of season 4. End rant.
All right, thanks for that review. Yeah, good stuff. All right, best new character, guys. Mikey.
Well, I think it's Tara is the best new character for season 4. She's fantastic. She's interesting. She's a unique pair for Willow. I mean, besides the fact that it's progressive for humanity in general to have a romantic pairing with Tara and Willow, she's just an interesting character. She allows Willow to be a stronger character because we have another person to pick on to like turn into a damsel in distress, which I appreciate. And then I just have to have a special mention here for Sunday, the vampire who's in the first episode of season 4. I wish Sunday was in this show more. She reminds me of the kind of character that was in the Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie, just like a vampire that's well grounded in not only like herself as a vampire, but just like has an interesting point of view and like feels to embodify the kind of vampire you might find at a Hot Topic or something. Just like a manager of Hot Topic, not just an employee. Like she really
like somebody who's fully committed to Hot Topic,
fully committed to a lifestyle. But she's fascinating. I would love to have seen more from that character.
I feel like Sunday was like, if you could write like a fan fiction crossover of Mean Girls and Buffy the Vampire Slayer, like Sunday would be like the main character in that fan fiction crossover. Because she was like really ruthlessly mean.
You also have this other list of other characters created this season.
Oh, I just wanted to remind people about some of the other characters so that they realize who these, how the best new characters are up against. But, Riley Finn was a big character for this season. And he for me is not the best new character. Riley's kind of overall kind of milquetoast, a little bit boring. I'm sure he's going to continue to be a part of the show for a bit through season 5. It sounds like. I'm not really excited about Riley's story. It hits that moment in Goodbye Iowa where, Riley versus the Initiative happens, but then he ultimately doesn't confront Adam. So I feel like he doesn't get the story arc that he needs as a character to really move forward. I mean, his confrontation with Adam, it's like, well, Adam's superior.
I like even his emotional arc is like at the end, his confrontation is like, I can't move. I can't express emotions.
And then he has that unique moment where he sleeps with Faith as Buffy, and I don't feel like, he's somewhat remorseful and stuff, but it doesn't really move his character forward. There is one exciting moment for Riley, which is when, he leaves the Initiative and then kind of becomes the radical revolutionary Riley.
I'm an anarchist.
Yeah, but he doesn't really lead the way that he needs to lead for that to for me to really fall in with him as a character.
Yeah, it'd be great if he started like spray painting who initiates the initiative.
If you start tagging things around town, like beware the initiative, or it's just like tagging messages yeah, they say they disbanded the initiative, but I got to tag. What's crazy is that both Xander and Riley had slept with Faith. But it would have been hilarious if they had talked about it or something, or because wouldn't that be, because they're just such weird male characters. I just realized that.
I've never put that together before.
Yeah, right. Isn't that weird? Because Xander would say something.
I'm glad that didn't
weird.
happen.
No, well, I'm just saying
that'd be weird if I would totally believe Xander trying to male bond with Riley by being how about when Faith chokes you when you're having sex?
Yeah, he's like, how about that Faith? She's a real wild girl, right? Or something like that. Yeah. Or he'd be like, I heard about you and Faith. Did she try to choke you too? And it'd be great if he was like, no. That was just the thing that a horrible thing that was done to Xander. And that would make Xander's character even better, but just because he's such an unlucky guy. I think Riley's character sucks, not because we're against Mark Blucas or we have any beef with that. It's just he didn't have the right character development. That's all we're beefing with is that other things should have happened to that character. And they didn't, and then it doesn't work, and that's just that. Now I'm going to give my own plug. There's a kitten they adopted this season, and when I watched the episode with the kitten, I did rewatch it a couple times because it was an amazing cat video. It became all of a sudden a officially sponsored cat video. It was great.
Yeah, you brought up shit. I'm having a hard time finding his. You brought up Eddie. Who was the Of Human Bondage guy, and just give it a shout out to that guy. And he's such a wimpy guy in this show, but it actually took the buffering cast to point it out for me to notice. He's a guy in Game of Thrones. He's the dude who gets his head crushed by the mountain. So he's a badass on that show. Not so much on Buffy. Okay, here's a good question. What is the point of Giles and Xander this season?
All right, I'll take that because my question is, why is Giles dating this? She looks really young. I mean, I'm sorry, the woman that Giles is dating looks really, really young, and it's he doesn't.
I mean, she doesn't look as young as Buffy or anything.
She looks about Buffy age. To me, she looks about Buffy's age.
Oh, she's a grown up.
Well, yeah, Buffy's.
I mean, she's
24.
definitely younger than Giles, but.
Yes, Buffy is grown up because in real life she's around 24 at this time. So yes.
I don't know. I think Olivia is seems appropriate for Giles to date. She doesn't read to me as so much younger.
She is not age appropriate,
but also.
I mean, she looks at least as old as Jenny Calendar.
Also, I like the idea that we see all this because was being a fake librarian too time consuming? He didn't have a real job, but it's he's got to be out of work to be dating Giles, or I don't remember seeing her in season 3. Maybe we did see.
No.
Also, my big question to you all, did he tell Olivia what happened to his last girlfriend in his house that he still lives in? Because I think I think that's what you do. You have to disclose what happened.
I think 100%.
I doubt he did not disclose. I mean, I do not believe he disclosed what happened to his last girlfriend and where it happened.
So the actress Pinot Rouge was born in 1972. Anthony Stewart Head was born in 1954. That is a healthy age difference.
That is a healthy age difference.
Yeah, thank you.
When was the actress who played Jenny Calendar born?
She's of the Calderash people. I don't know. That may help.
Calderash clan.
She was born in 1970, so she's a little bit older, but
she looked young as well. Jenny Calendar also looked well, but she also.
Well, she was also like the same age as Cordelia.
Yeah. But do you think he told Olivia what happened to Jenny?
He has to mention it at some point. He has to talk about what happened.
It's a legitimate risk. It's a risk. He lives on the Hellmouth. His last girlfriend was murdered because of the Hellmouth. Like if he lived in Cleveland, well, not Cleveland. If he lived somewhere else where there was no Hellmouth, sure, you don't have to disclose what happened when you were living on the Hellmouth.
I mean, she knows he has a past. She calls him the Ripper. I think there's something interesting about like the two like male leads in this series are like totally like lost this season, right? There's something there.
Yeah, I actually think that's not a weakness of this season at all. I think it's actually really interesting that both Giles and Xander feel very up in the air and lost throughout the whole thing. I think that's legitimate character work.
Yeah.
I don't feel like that's a weakness of writing at all.
Yeah, and there's definitely like I think we've all had periods in our lives where we felt adrift.
Absolutely.
Out of focus from our calling.
Yeah, I feel like I'm living in that world now, so it's hard to comment. Like, yep. Adrift.
I'm like a librarian without a library.
All right. Do we want to move on to predictions?
Virgin predictions.
We do have quite a bit to go over because it's the end of a season. There's always a lot to do at the end of a season. So predictions it is. Okay, Mike. So far, we have 119 predictions that have been confirmed, 17 predictions that have been denied, 141 predictions that are currently open, 141 open predictions. And that's out of the 74 episodes we've watched so far, give or take. That gives you, Mike, an accuracy rating of around 62%. So we'll see how you fare moving forward. So let's see. Starting here, way back at the very beginning of season 2, Mike predicted that the gang would get a better headquarters than the library. So I thought this would be a good time to stop and say, okay, I think at this point, the gang is hanging out at Giles's place. That seems to be their default hangout.
Have we not already addressed this?
Not directly. Is that a better headquarters than the library? What do you guys think? Is it better is the question.
Well, by the rules of like vampires can't attack it as easily because they need to be let in.
Because it's a home.
It's better. Although Spike can just enter whenever he wants because Giles never locks the door. And Giles has been attacked by random demons this season who just like pop out from the bathroom.
Yeah, and the house was under attack by an Indian, like Indian ghosts. They made it okay. There's defensible couches there.
Yeah, it's got a bathtub, a refrigerator, a couch, a TV. I mean, it's an upgrade.
Faith knows exactly where it is. That's great.
Yeah, that's
okay.
Not a great
so
thing.
Dennis, it sounds like you're saying it's an improvement.
Yeah, I guess it's an improvement.
Okay, Travis, you're saying it's an improvement.
It's an improvement. Yeah.
Okay, we'll go ahead and confirm that one. They got a better headquarters than the library. Well done,
But they
Mike.
don't have the library cage. They don't have like all the.
They chained them up.
That's true. They don't have the cage.
But they have a bathtub or whatever they put Spike in.
Yeah, they chained them up to that. That worked fine.
Michael, also in the beginning of season 3, episode 5, you predicted that there was going to be no Slayer Fest 99 in season 4 as the companion to Slayer Fest 98. That was not going to happen. So I believe that is confirmed.
I've been saying we should have confirmed that back when, when we moved to the year 2000 within the show.
We got to take care of it sometime. Let's see. Okay. At the beginning of this season, or at the end of the last season, rather, you predicted that Buffy will have a dream about Angel in season 4. Now, I don't know. Did this happen, guys? I really honestly can't recall it happening or not.
We saw no dream.
All right, that one's denied. Also, at the end of season 3, Michael predicted that the Watcher Council would be the big bad in season 4. That obviously did not happen either, although I think we all wish it did.
I almost want to give him half a point because the Watcher Council was not only on Buffy, but also an episode of Angel.
Yep.
But it can't. I know we can't.
Yep. We all wish that was a bigger part of the story than it is. Also, the end of season 3, Mike predicted that Buffy and Spike would have sex in season 4. That did not happen. As far as we know, there was the whole something blue where there may have been off-screen shenanigans, but I think we are going to go ahead and deny that one.
I mean,
Okay.
Giles was blind at the time. So we're not going to address Buffy will not study law enforcement in college?
She's still in college? She could still study law enforcement?
Just give me the point. Dennis just gave me the point. No, he did.
I mean, she could start studying law enforcement at any time, Dennis.
All right.
Okay. So also the very first episode of season 4, Mike predicted that the snipers from the end of that episode would be connected with the big bad from this season. And that is certainly true. Those were initiative snipers. So that's confirmed.
That's such a vague prediction,
Okay.
but
Uh,
connected.
Season 4, episode 8, Mike predicted that Spike will have his chip removed in season 4. That has not happened. So that is denied.
That's because Adam is so irresponsible and a terrible leader. He promised.
Season 4, episode 16, Michael predicts that Riley will not be strong enough to protect Buffy. I feel like this happened. Actually, we probably should have handled this a little bit earlier. I feel like this is confirmed. What do you guys say?
Yeah, Riley's not strong.
Okay, that's confirmed. Okay. Season 4, episode 20. Riley is going to die this season. I assume I've already predicted this. I did not predict this earlier, but also Riley did not die this season. So that is denied. From season 4, episode 21, and it states, it will be revealed that Buffy didn't like having a demon in her body during Primeval. Now, Dennis, you feel like this is a denial, and please explain why.
Well, because first of all, it turned out to not be a demon in her body. It was like the what do you call it? The first Slayer,
Right.
And I think Buffy never right at the beginning of Restless, she was like, "I'm jazzed. Like I feel energetic from this." She's not like, "I'm disgusted with what happened." At the end, they're like, "We can't use this spell again because like the first is going to try to kill us again." But she's not like, I feel abused or anything. Like the reveal that she didn't like it never happened to me. That makes sense to me. Michael, do you want to make your case?
Can't argue with the fact that it's not a demon and that it's the first Slayer, and that must be an angel or something amazing. First Slayer, it's this fucking reckless cave person that's like portrayed as an aboriginal goddess of some kind. Yeah, I feel like there is a negative consequence. My implication was that there would be a negative consequence to it, but no, Buffy apparently did like having it and felt empowered by it, but there were negative consequences to it, which was the main. I'm okay with this being denied, but the point was that this spell is too powerful. They would use this all the time if they could. There has to be a negative consequence for it. I made the focus on Buffy, which was wrong. It should have been on that there'll be just negative consequences to using this incredible magic. Which
well, see, you were playing the Buffy predictions connotation game. We're all playing the denotation game, and in the denotation game, you're denied. So that leaves you, Michael, with an accuracy rating of 61. So you dropped a full percentage point today, my friend.
I will stay above 50. That's all I got. I'll stay above.
Is that all you're holding yourself to?
I can't get back up to 100.
So at this point, I think, Michael, you should make some broad predictions about what will happen, the broad strokes of season 5.
I'll make some broad strokes opinions about season 5, but I feel like I have some. Maybe do I have anything about season 5 yet? Because I don't want to do the thing where
I don't think so.
Great. Okay, well, here you go.
Oh wait, you do say. I'm sorry. You do the one prediction you have about season 5. Okay, you have 2. One is that Xander will get a real bed by the end of season 5.
Go for it,
Another-
Xander.
Here's rooting for Xander.
Another is that Buffy will have a Thanksgiving episode in season 5. Those are your 2 predictions about season 5 so far.
Okay. So on a broad level, I still believe the Watcher Council is the bad guys. The Watcher Council will be the big bad in season 5. I am obviously not. Travis just denied that prediction.
I just want to know what makes you think that. That's all I want to know.
The Watcher Council appears to be little dudes who are almost incompetent, but very scary feeling. They seem like people that would coordinate a big bad. They seem like politicians, paramilitary organization of some kind of supernatural weirdos that might put together a Adam-like monster or series of monsters, or put together some actions that like reopen the Hellmouth or something messed up to create the big bad. So I'm sure on this podcast I will be wrong because actually it was those demons from hell, not the Watcher Council, that opened the Hellmouth. So that's the problem I have with this prediction. But the Watcher Council will set into motion the big bad in season 5. The Watcher Council will do something that will create the big bad for season 5. And I don't mean it literally created, physically manifested. It could be a person, but it could be a lot of minions, could be something terrible. But the Watcher Council, they're AWOL, they're crazy, they're an X Factor, and they're one of the few remaining X Factors from the previous seasons that could do something weird. So I think the Watcher Council is still in play. They appeared on Angel. They're going to do something that is going to kick up the big bad in season 5.
The Watcher Council will bring about the big bad in season 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm probably going to have to trace it on a board full of, tiny pictures and yarn to show the connections between it. But the Watcher Council will bring the big bad in season 5.
I look forward to that.
Or change it to the Watcher Council will be involved with bringing about the big bad, or the Watcher Council will be. I'm trying to save you some legal troubles. I'm trying to say we're going to rewrite this legally. It's just going to be the Watcher Council will be involved with the big bad in season 5 in some way.
Okay.
That clarifies legally some.
What am I doing?
They're just involved. The Watcher Council will be involved in some way with the big bad.
I'm a little disturbed about the precedent of Travis dictating predictions to Michael.
I like it. I like having a lawyer in the room.
Clearing up his legal wrangling so that
the Watcher Council will be involved.
Will be involved. The Watcher Council will be a party to, in some way.
Involved, a party to.
No, dude, we can get rid of involved. We'll just say the Watcher Council will be a party to the big bad in season 5.
This is some bullshit, Travis.
I'm trying to save us from 6 months from now, us wrangling about a prediction.
By front loading the wrangling.
But he can predict anything. You can't let him predict the language.
You're the one predicting it. Right now you're predicting something so vague.
There will be conflict in season 5.
There will be conflict. Yeah.
Season 5,
every episode will have conflict.
Okay.
It might be right. The harmony was going to be involved, or other vague things. I mean, it's pretty clear. I'm just trying to distill what he means.
I'm going to clarify this prediction because it's an issue. All right, and I think the term "big bad" is going to hurt because that's a terrible term that's vague but specific. The Watcher Council will create a monster. Will create a monster in season 5. They will create a monster of some kind. They'll create a monster in season 5.
There you go.
Now, if they literally create it, that if they just bring a monster to town, that counts to me. If they open a portal to hell, that counts. Like, I think the Watcher Council will create some kind of monsters in season 5. I don't know if it's going to be the big bad. I think there are a couple of other things in play in this show that they could bring back beyond the Watcher Council. But the Watcher Council seems to me like they just need to be nailed down. They're going to do something. They're dangerous.
I wrote the Watcher Council will affect a monster in season 5.
They'll inspire a monster.
Bring forth.
Bring forth. Yeah, they're bringing a monster to the party. They'll do something.
They will bring forth a monster in season 5.
Angel will appear on season 5. They still need to make this crossover important. They still need to make Buffy and Angel connected as shows. Clearly, Angel continues, I believe, after Buffy is off the air as its own thing. But for now, they're combined. Their stories need to be relevant. There will be a multi-part Buffy Angel crossover.
Do you have any predictions about like specific characters, like anything for Willow, Tara, Xander?
Well, Riley and Buffy will break up in season 5. Xander is going to find a meaningful job that he's going to keep for more than one episode. That's the definition of a career in Xander's world. Okay. 2-episode job. Giles will start a job also. He's going to stop being retired. I think he's still a librarian. I think that's who he is. Giles is going to start working at a library. I don't know if it's at the college campus. I don't know if he's going to... Can I amend this? Sorry. Because he could open a bookstore too. Giles will start a new job that will have something to do with his knowledge of the occult. That's too vague. Because I think he could be a librarian, but I think he could also run a bookstore or like an occult gift shop or something like that. So it's just like he will get a job. Giles will get a job.
Delivering pizzas could be.
Books will be involved.
Yeah. Giles's house will be destroyed in season 5 because we need to find a new headquarters still. I'm not satisfied with Giles's place as the headquarters. Tara and Willow there's a lot of things. They're going to kiss on camera instead of just the hugs. We're going to get a Tara Willow kiss on camera.
No, you do already have a prediction about that.
Oh, good. I'm on the same page with past Michael. So the Tara and Willow characters need to develop more. We want to see more with them. So like Tara, I think, is a good witch. I think Willow's kind of a dark witch and evil witch. You know, they've got these different kind of energies. Obviously, those things are going to develop more, but they can do spells on their own, but the combined spells are really powerful. So in season 5, we're going to see a Tara Willow spell that is going to break the world, like a combined spell. So we have these world-breaking one-off episodes. I don't know how we describe what those are. Tara and Willow are going to break the world with a spell together. But in a good way. And as opposed to the inverted world that we get where things are bad, this will be a world where things are good. So Tara and Willow will create a good world in season 5 for one episode.
Tara and Willow will do a combined spell that will break the world in a good way.
Yeah. Also, Tara and Willow will have magical sex. They're going to use magic to enjoy each other's bodies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so we know exactly what you...
Why wouldn't they? They're both sorceresses. Why wouldn't we explore what that would look like?
Any predictions about college or Buffy's life?
I mean, this is interesting because she's going to be with Riley for a little bit for part of season 5, and then they'll break up, and then she's going to get with Spike in some way. Spike's going to get the AI chip removed, in probably magically removed at this point since Adam isn't around and nobody from the initiative is there, and they're the people that did the procedure. So, and then our big bad will emerge, which, will be slightly triggered by the Watcher Council, but some kind of monster. I feel like the Hellmouth, that gets mentioned a lot. That's still in play. I think the Hellmouth could reopen through inadvertent, moves on the Watcher Council's part. So if the Hellmouth reopens, it's going to take a while for us to figure out that that's what happened. Because we don't really deal with monsters from other places, even though LA is full of monsters as well. So if Hellmouth reopens, then there's going to be some monsters afoot. I think I predicted that Joyce is going to die this season. So Joyce will be killed by something from the Hellmouth. Then Buffy's in a vengeance streak against everything. So she's AWOL and dangerous. That's probably when Riley... You know what? I think that's probably when she and Riley break up because Riley will have no capacity to understand the emotions that Buffy is experiencing. And then that's when she's going to be drawn to someone like Spike when she's in the like bad girl downturn. And then Buffy might die again, which would produce another Slayer because she can only die temporarily.
This is one really large prediction.
No, I'm just like going over like what I think could happen in the thing. So I don't know. Buffy's arc is weird this season in season 5. In my my brain, just imagination. This is about this is going to be an unstable season for Buffy's romantic life. Like in a continued story, Buffy is still not going to find her permanent partner this season. She's going to be bouncing. So I don't know how to articulate this into enough.
I feel like you just made like 20 predictions that we could have.
Yeah,
sorted
there's a
through.
lot there.
It was a stream of consciousness prediction, really. I mean, you should.
I think Buffy will die in season 5 again, but not permanently. She'll be resurrected maybe by Terra Willow magic or something, but she'll be back.
I think we can leave it there. I think that's a lot of good predictions. We got a big pile of predictions there.
Great. Everyone's happy with the pile.
Any predictions for Kitty Fantastica?
Oh, the cat. Oh, the cat will be turned into a helpful familiar and will fight a monster in season 5.
That's it for predictions.
All right. I don't think we wrote anything down for themes, really, since we've covered themes a lot this season. So, yeah, why don't we just end things? I hope you've been enjoying this season. Stay tuned next week where we're going to recap the back half of Angel Season 1 and do more predictions.
And then the episode after that, we're going to start season 5.
Yeah, we're going to be rolling right along. So I want to just have a special shout out to our audience. Thank you guys so much for listening to us and sending your comments. We really appreciate them. So keep doing that. And please give us ratings on iTunes and other machines. And I've been your host, and you can catch us in hell, where we'll see you.